here. And yep, looks like that is recording.
It is. I am Judy LaPorte, and I am the interviewer, and we are here in Newbury. And give me your name.
Richard Digilio.
What's your middle name?
Richard William.
Richard William. Okay. Yep. And
Don't ask me how I got that. I don't know.
when and where were you born?
I was born in New London Hospital.
New London Hospital?
Yeah, the 16th of May, 1936.
Wow. So you're a year older than I am.
I'm afraid so, yes.
And tell us something about your family. How many siblings, your mother and father?
Well, I had 4 brothers, 1 sister. My father came from Italy in 1904. He was 16 years old. And he had to work with my uncle. Well, make a long story short, or whatever you want to do it. My uncle, his name was Louis Davis, but his name really was Louis Greco, but he changed it because the Italians were getting all this crap. Well, anyway, he had this farm, bought this farm. This Greco or Davis, my uncle went to Maine for some reason. He came to New Hampshire. I don't know, he happened to buy the farm or make it the Blodgett farm. I don't know how he happened to buy it, but he did. And he had a crew of men. He didn't live there. He lived in Sunapee, but he had men stay in that house. And because he married my father's sister, older sister, and they sent for him to come over here. You know, in those days you had to be sponsored. Somebody had to give you a job and everything. So, and he had to work for 6 years for his passage. So he used to run.
He had to work how many years for his
6, I think I heard. I heard 6.
Wow.
I'm not positive, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And of course, this Louis Davis he had crew of men and he'd build things different places. He built the part of the Bowles Road and he built the big stone wall, not the big bowl, but the next big stone, he built those. And he used to cut lumber, and my father used to drive team and he hauled stuff off the mountain for Draper Lumber Company. And, you know, they'd bog the spruce, the whole length spruce on a bobsled and bring it down right where the frost top used to be. There was a right-of-way right through there. And they'd run it onto the ice, and then they'd boom them. And then when the ice went out, they'd haul them down to Sunapee Harbor, which had the mills down to Sunapee Harbor. Well, because one thing leads to another. My father, I guess, I don't know, somehow they sent for his brother, my other uncle. And he came, I don't know what year he came, but he came after a while. So then my father bought the farm in 1910. How they bought it, I don't know. The 65, the original farm was 300 acres, but my uncle only sold my father 65 acres, and my brother and my uncle. And so the 2 went together, and they bought the farm in 1910. Of course, they raised their families, and of course,
Well, how did your mother come to be here?
because they wanted a wife. My father wanted a wife, so they sent a picture over there or something. They sent it up, you know, mail order. And here she come. In 1921. My father didn't get married till he was 33. I was 48 years old. He was 48 years old when I was born. So I was kind of by myself.
And how old was your mother when they married?
She was only 18.
Oh, my.
When she came over here.
Yeah.
And, of course, she died when she was 76, 73. She didn't last long. But the 2 brothers got along okay before they started having a lot of kids. And once they started getting them kids, see, the old farmhouse was low, but then they put an addition on top, made 4 rooms up on top. So my uncle used to live up with his family. But as soon as the boys they started fighting each other. So what had happened is, where my uncle lived in Sunapee, his place burned down, and he moved to Long Island. So my uncle bought that, and they separated. And we had a truck garden we stopped in 1971 or 72. They had all them years. They had truck gardens. We used to go around the lake. They had an agreement where my uncle would go he'd take the Sunapee and Fires Bay Point to New London. We'd go New London, Newbury this side. And all them years, that agreement stuck. So we used to deliver vegetables, fruit and vegetables around the lake 5 days a week for all those years. My father, and then my brothers did it. And
Was that to the hotels or was that to people?
To people.
To people.
yeah. You
Wow.
go knock on the door and
Wow.
you get certain customers after a while.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that? Or
I
were
did
you
a little
too
bit.
young?
I went a little bit, yeah. See, I being a little one, I could play till about 10 years old. I could play till I was about 11. Then after that, I had to start working. You got the tail-end jobs. You got the hand-me-down jobs. You got the hand-me-down toys. Well, we didn't get any toys like it is today. But, it was a good life. And it's a good, beautiful way to live, grow up here.
And now your sister was the oldest,
My sister was the oldest. She was born in 1922.
and she's still alive.
She's still alive. She's down in Burlington, Mass.
And how old you said she was?
102, October. Just turned
That's
102,
impressive.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah. So,
And then
Well,
how
I went
about,
to-
how
I
about
went
your
to-
other siblings? Who?
I beg your pardon?
Where are you in the birth order?
I'm a
There's-
baby.
You're the
Yeah,
baby.
he's the
Yeah.
baby.
They had I guess they had the rhythm system in those days. Well,
Yeah.
it was just about every 2 years.
Yeah.
Then they stopped at the fifth one. I guess they decided they weren't going to have any more. Well, for some reason, I snuck in the back door one day. I think it was some cold day in September, some cold night, they get too close together. So here I am. But my mother always said she loved me just the same.
How many years between you and your next sibling?
6.
6 years.
So they're 2 years apart.
Yeah, yeah.
My oldest brother was 2 years older than my sister.
Yeah.
Kept on going, stepping down. My brother just died was 97. He would have been 98 in June.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had to work hard, and we raised vegetables, and we had cattle, and we had chickens, and we had all that stuff. And we had to work on the farm all the time. We didn't know any holidays. That's what we did.
And you didn't have to shop very much. It's one of the questions is where did you shop? But
I didn't
with a
shop very
farm,
much.
no, you didn't.
No, my mother was pretty frugal, and she
Yeah.
got along best she could with what she had. And she,
Have to get sugar and flour.
Oh, yeah, they got a few things. Yeah, but she was pretty frugal.
Your mother was a very strong woman.
Yeah,
wasn't
she was a good woman. Didn't get a lot of credit she should have got. But,
Yeah.
she didn't overfeed us, and which was a good thing.
What was the community like here in Newbury when you were young?
To the best of my knowledge, it was about 300 people. See, before the Second World War, a lot of people moved down again. They kept moving out of the country. I went to school here in Newbury. Started in 1942. The school on Baker Hill, close to my house, was closed. It's from 1942. My brothers and sisters, they all went to that school.
That's right.
8 grades in one room.
But
So
you
I came to
came
Newbury.
here.
Yeah.
And were all 8 grades in one
No,
room?
4 grades here and 4 down South Newbury.
Yeah, so you went to South Newbury too.
Yeah, and on the 5th and 6th floor there.
Yeah.
But
And then you went to Simons and Warner.
I went to Simons and Warner. I want to tell you, I was very bashful in those days. I'm still kind of bashful now, actually.
And how did you get to Simons?
I took the train. I took the train every day until it stopped running. We get the train in the morning, in the afternoon we get the Boston main bus, the commercial bus, come back and pick us up. I was going to tell you about the first grade. Being so bashful, I was scared to ask the teacher to go to the bathroom. So you can just imagine what happened. Well, the guy that, in those days, they took you with a car to school, and we lived so far back, so they took us up there. My brother Dominic, he was down there going to school. He came up with me and brought me home. And the driver was Oscar Colburn.
Oscar.
Oscar Colburn was his sister was married to Merrill Rich. Merrill Rich is
Yep.
Dave Rich's grandfather. But
Now, who was your teacher?
I can't remember the first teacher. The second was Mrs. Crocker. I can't remember the first one. Then we had Miss Parham. And then we went to South. Then we had Mrs. Cole. And we had Mr. Hearn for a male teacher. Wayne had him.
Yep.
And then we had Mrs. Cole for 2 years. She was quite lenient. A nice lady. Everybody liked her.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cole, is that
Cole
the same
Marina.
Mrs. Cole
Yeah.
who was teaching by the time my friends were going
Yeah.
to school?
Yeah.
She taught forever.
She
Oh, yeah.
taught here in Newbury for 31 years.
Yeah, a long time. She had a daughter named Judy. I don't know what happened to her.
No, I don't either. She lived in Maine, I know,
Oh,
at one
really?
point. Yeah,
Yeah. They used to own the marina in Sunapee.
Yeah.
Don Cole did, yeah.
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 And well, you said you were kind of bashful. How did you meet people?
I don't know. After a while you get over it. I think the Navy made me much better.
You went into the Navy.
Yeah, I spent 4 years in the Navy, yeah.
Just as soon as you graduated from high school?
No, I was foolish. I hung around home a couple of years. I couldn't make up my mind what to do. I finally decided I better get out of this town and see a little bit if I could. And I'm so glad that I did. It was peacetime, but so glad.
Where were you in the Navy? Where did you go?
Well, I started out in Bainbridge. I got my training in Bainbridge, Maryland.
Yeah.
Then I went to Newport, Rhode Island for 6 months. Then I went to North Chicago for 4 weeks. Then I went to San Diego and got my ship in San Diego. And then we went to Hawaii, Australia, Japan, Korea, Okinawa, all those places.
So you saw a lot of the world.
Saw some of it. And then came back. We did a 7-month cruise. Then came back, and then we were home for out of Long Beach, California. And then we went to a beautiful ship, and a very new ship, but the government decided to get rid of it, so they decommissioned it. So we helped decommission it in San Francisco, in the 100-point shipyard there. So I spent 7 months in San Francisco, and there's another little history, if you don't mind, I'll tell you. One night in February, it was February 1958, I was pulling Liberty. Now I had a car, and I was up a ways, up past 9th and Market. Market's the main drag down through San Francisco. It was a Sunday afternoon, and about 6 o'clock, and I was walking down the sidewalk from between 9th and 7th. Here comes this good-looking woman, coming up the street. Not too big, a nice, small, nice, good-looking woman with a ponytail flying around. I said, hi. Someone like that. She said, hi back. And we get to talking. She was going to go up this 9th Street, the movie theater, Fox Theater, to see about getting a job. So I went with her. I know she didn't get the job. We went and watched the movies a little while. And I said, yeah. She said, she had to go to the bathroom, which is okay. I waited and finally, what the heck's going wrong? Well, I got up, went to the lobby, there she was, getting ready to go out. I said, hey, where you going? So, what I'm going to say is, we had that little short date, then had one date after that, and I got transferred to Stockton, California. I've been all over the place. And I stayed there the rest of my hitch. Well, I must have given her my name and address. Well, I got a Christmas card one time. And then we commuted a little bit, and then on the way home, she lived in St. Louis. On the way home, she moved back to St. Louis, where she came from. On the way home, we stopped in Saura, me and my buddy, for a couple of days. I came home in October. And again, I didn't know what was going on, and didn't have no job. There wasn't nothing, no work around here those days. So we communicated back and forth. So the first of the New Year's Day, I went back down there, and 3 weeks later, came back married. It lasted for 59 years.
That's a
Until
great
she died,
story.
yeah.
Oh,
But isn't it amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That-
A couple of
yes.
times on that's all we saw each other, and hardly knew each other. That's how foolish we were. But it worked.
yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah, you made up your mind to make it work.
Yeah, it worked fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
So now, what did you do for work? Describe. You didn't work on the farm once you got out of the Navy.
Yeah, I worked on the farm after I got married. I worked on the farm that summer. Then I worked for the town. Started working in town in the fall. Worked for them till 1967 June. Then Howard took my job the day I quit. He took my job. He just came out of school. I went up on the mountain working on that north-southeast chairlift. Building that. So funny how history is.
But you've seen a lot of changes on the mountain, haven't you?
Oh yes, there's a lot of change in this town.
Yeah.
We could drive from my house or from the farm down to Newbury, never meet a car. Now, my goodness gracious, it's steady flow sometimes.
Yeah.
How times have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. In those days, there wasn't much work around here. Your father hired me for a month and a half working with him that time.
Yeah.
Snow was up to here.
He said you were a good worker.
Yeah, well, we tried.
Worked hard.
You know, I don't regret anything. The way I was brought up, conservative. I'm glad. I'm glad my mother was conservative. You know.
Yeah. And your parents were strict, weren't they?
I don't think they were very strict. They never bossed you. They never told you what to do. But
But didn't you do it?
I don't remember. I can remember one time down to high school, the English teacher's name, Mrs. Bigelow.
Oh, yes.
You remember her?
Oh, yes.
Well, for some reason, I guess I was not a very good student anyway, but I was just keep my mouth going too much, I guess. She kept me after school one day, just long enough to miss the bus. And I got almost 20 miles those days to get my home.
Yeah.
I had to throw my way home. I got a ride to Bradford, then a ride to Bradford to Newbury, then I walked the rest of the way home. But what I'm going to say, my mother and father, I don't remember them ever being worried that I didn't get home.
You didn't worry about your kids as much back then.
No, they didn't seem to. What much trouble to get into.
Plus, you were the baby of 5 other ones, right?
You're
So
right.
they were good and broken in by the time.
Yeah. And you know, when my oldest, next brother was almost 6 years, you get nobody to play with. They don't have the same,
No.
they don't want to play with you.
Not 6 years.
You know, you have to play by yourself. I grew up by myself, kind of, you know.
Did you have some friends in the neighborhood?
No, nobody. Only Paul Clark, kid named Paul Clark, was there for a couple of years. But
Yeah, there really
Most
wasn't
times I'm by
anybody
myself.
else on Baker Hill, was there? No other kids.
no. In the wintertime, there was nobody within a mile of us in the wintertime.
Yeah.
You know, back when the snow, those days, the woods were a lot smaller. Not so big as they are now.
Yeah.
And the wind really could blow up through there. It'd blow that whole hill right full of snow. When
Now,
I-
you must have shoveled by hand the barn and the house. Did you have a tractor that
On
you
the farm?
Yeah, on the
Oh, yeah,
farm.
we had a tractor. We had one.
And a plow.
Oh, yeah, we used to hire Jim Messer. Used to bring his horses over. They swap back and forth.
Yeah.
Then we bought a tractor in 48.
But
Well, any of them, you get the hand-me-down jobs, you know. Like when we were haying, you know, we had to have this big thing called a bull rake. It's about 5 or 6 feet long. Had these
Oh,
big
yeah.
long tines, remember? It had big long
Oh,
tines
I
on it.
know what that
With a
is.
curved handle.
Yep.
And you go along behind and pick up the scavengers. That
Yep.
was my job when I got big enough. You know, they tell you, my brothers used to always like to say, you'll be seen and not heard.
Well, the kids were expected to do that back then.
Yeah, like, you
Not
didn't-
so much
you
now.
didn't mouth off much. It was a good life.
Did you have your own room growing up?
No, we had 4 of us in one room. One dresser with 4 or 5 drawers. Each one had a drawer. You shared a little small closet. Not like it is today. Everybody got their own room and all that. We get along.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
we did.
in those days, we didn't want any heat in nighttime. The stoves would go out. You had wood stoves. We'd go out in the cold. We survived it.
Did you share beds with each other? Or you
Yeah, double beds.
Yeah.
What did you do for entertainment? Did you go to dances or parties?
I told you I was so backward. I should have. I wish I could live my life over again. I would do those things, but I didn't.
You didn't. No.
I didn't go to Bradford like everybody else. My brothers used to go. They used to get down square dancing,
Yeah, the square
but
dance.
not me. I didn't. Too stupid.
No.
Too bashful. Too
Yeah,
bashful.
bashful. Not stupid, bashful. Yeah. But you weren't bashful when you met your prospective wife.
No, well, the Navy, I tell you, helps you.
Yeah.
Of course it
Yeah.
does. I'm glad I went in. Like I said, peacetime, well, what can I say? That's the way it was.
And you never lived in more than one place until you went
No,
into the
I always
Navy.
lived on the farm. See, when I got married, I was lucky to they had the apartment upstairs. Joe got out. He built his new house, and he got out, and then I took it over till I left. Till we went and bought the house where I live. But you know, when my first kid was born, we didn't have, like I said, no heat at nighttime. My wife would put a hat on the baby and bundle them all up. We got by. We After a while we got central heat, but at first we didn't have it. You know.
Well, I don't think the cold
I don't
hurts
like I don't
children if they're dressed for it.
Yeah, I don't like it now, but
Did you feel that Newbury was a unique place?
well, I don't know. I suppose it was okay.
Somewhat because of the lake?
Well, of course, the lake is what the lake in the mountain. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I can remember a man named Ernest Sherman. Remember Ernest Sherman?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, he always said that the old timers called Newbury a worthless gore. Well, because there's no farming.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
hillside and rock
Yeah.
in the lake. Up where we are, there's more fields. There's farms up that way.
Yeah. Beautiful
Yeah.
land up there.
Yeah.
But not right here in
Yeah.
the
You know, we got
center.
2 cemeteries up there. There was a lot of people up there in those days,
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah.
The cemetery on the farm there goes back to 1799. Old Benjamin Baker is buried there.
Wow.
And then the cemetery down the hill, the Bean Cemetery, that's 1825. So there's 2, and they're all full.
Yeah. Pretty old dates.
Yeah. That section had had a lot of population in those days.
Now you were in the Navy after the war was over.
I was in 1956 to 1960, in between Korea
Yeah.
and Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I was lucky to get on a nice ship too, a good cruiser, nice ship. It was only 9 years old, and the government took it out of decommission at 9 years old.
I wonder why.
Unbelievable.
No, not for the government.
Well,
Did any of the different presidents, do you remember they're affecting your life at all?
the president?
Yeah, presidents, the presidents of the United States. Were
No.
you- No?
Didn't affect my life. Well,
How about COVID?
COVID affected it, yeah.
Did you ever have it?
Yes, I did get COVID a couple of years ago. Columbus Day, my youngest daughter bought us tickets, all of us, my sister, my daughter, 2 daughters, my son-in-law, and my granddaughter, up to Conway on the scenic railway.
Yeah.
Took that ride. We're so crowded and so many people. And I don't know, my son-in-law and I sat in the front of the truck and the other 3 sat in the back. That was on a Sunday, and on a Wednesday, I started feeling bad, and on Thursday I was in the hospital.
Oh, so you really had it.
Yeah, I collapsed in the bathroom. And I struggled back into bed, and I called up my daughter and said, you're good. So she called 911. They come up and took me to the hospital. Stayed there 3 days. So,
And you haven't ever had it again.
oh, don't want it again. Once is enough.
Are there any other events that really stand out in your mind?
Events?
Well, if they happen in town or to you or to your family.
No, we were treated pretty good. I don't know.
What about World War II? Did that impact your family in any way?
Oh, World War II, of course, they had I can remember the rationing stamp, and I can remember when you had the headlights half covered with black, and had wardens. They always had air raids, worried about the planes. It was never materialized, but if they told you. I don't remember the Depression because I was I was too little. I was on the tail end of it. Or the hurricane, I was on the end of it.
Right.
Well, I think they got electricity in 1938. And I guess that's the same year the hurricane, 38. I read my mother tell about the hurricane. It rained quite a few days, 4 or 5 days, steady, and then you get the hurricane. And I suppose those trees tipped over pretty easy when they had that soft ground.
Yeah.
And the hurricane, it ruined a lot of the fields because the big field on 103A, Danny's field, they had a sawmill in there and stuck lumber, but Mac McQuestion, the caretaker, the Bowles caretaker, he made him clean it up. But the next field up where Kenny Burnell lives, it used to be a big field in there too. It's all grown up now. But that was stuck with lumber, and they ruined that field because they lifted slabs and stuff. Where my brother lives, that 13-acre field, was the same way. Stuck with lumber, ruined the field, and nobody cleaned it up, so it grew up. And we kept that part open. That part got. They just ruined the stuff because they had so much lumber. They had to do something with it.
And the lumbering operations, if they weren't
Nothing
supervised, they were bad.
Yeah, no. But we raised a lot of vegetables. And
What makes living in Newbury special to you?
well, I suppose being a small town, I don't know. I probably think I can't really think of it.
You know a lot of people.
Well, you know, I guess I don't know anybody now, to tell you the truth. Either they've died off or I don't know how any new ones. What I found now is my own personal opinion that you go to the dump or you go somewhere around here, they won't even give you eye contact, all these people, you don't.
Oh,
You know,
well, you're still a little shy.
me, they don't want to give me, I go to London, go to Hannibal, people talk to you, but over here, they don't even give a damn.
Really?
Too much money in this town now.
Well,
You know, it's got a lot to do with it. A lot of changes in Blodgett, I can tell you that. I remember they had the store. Used to have a nice little store in Blodgett, what the community store is called, right by that little park. There's a little bit of a park there.
yeah.
And this store was on a nice ground level, and they did a good business. They used to have an ice cream parlor in there. We used to get down and get ice cream Sundays. They call it Tulip Sunday. A small scoop, big scoop, and then other stuff on, and a sherry on top, 25 cents.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, those were good days. Just get in with a bicycle, get down and ride your bicycle down there.
Do you remember the Indian family that lived there in Blodgett?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Watso, a little bit. Yeah, they were there, but Clarence
must have
Perry was
been-
related to him.
Who was?
Clarence was related to him, and Harold Perry, and what the hell was his name? Was it? I forget. Wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know. Blodgett has really changed
Were
now.
they Abenaki?
Yeah, they were
Were
Abenaki,
they
weren't they? The
basket
Watts.
makers?
I
I've
don't
Yes,
know.
I've
yes.
heard of.
What the
yeah.
name was Watso? Yeah.
Watso.
Louis
he was
Watso.
And they also had a birchback canoe that he had made, and they used to go out in that. Yeah, but I never met them.
Yeah.
They were gone before I came.
I always had to ask more questions myself of people.
Oh, I know.
Now, Bob Breck
Yeah.
lived on the hill. He died quite a long time ago. He told me he sold peanuts on the Armenia White, the biggest boat on the lake.
Oh.
I always had to talk to him more about the,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ships.
you know, those boats went out a long time ago.
Do you remember the ships?
No, I don't, before my time, all of
Okay.
them.
Yeah, they were
When
gone.
did they stop?
1926.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Are there any legends, local legends you remember?
Hey, what?
Legends,
No,
stories?
you know, we had some characters around the old days. There was a few drunks around, but. Them old George Simons, he was a funny old guy. You know, those days you go to the town meeting and head down South Newbury, a smaller group. Well, you could get up and make a joke, or people would laugh. Today you got to be careful. You got to say the right thing, or you're out of there.
Yeah.
It took the fun out of it. And then, because we used to, when we was in South Newbury School, Mrs. Jim's restaurant was right there on the main street.
Oh, yes.
Can't see it now; it's all gone. But we used to go up there for hot lunch.
Yeah. And walk up
Yeah, well, from
and
the
back.
school, wasn't
Yeah.
worrying about it very
Yeah.
far. Yeah, it was pretty good days. And we had buses in those days. Yeah.
Who had the bus driving? Was that Crotto or was there somebody before then?
Reggie LaPorte,
Oh,
Wayne's father,
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
quite a while.
yeah,
Then
he
George
did for a long time.
after
Yeah,
that.
George Crotto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there was 5 gas stations in this Newbury. It was 2 over there, where the tackle shop. They wanted a tackle shop.
Yeah, yeah.
One across the street, Amco Gas across the street. A man named Randolph Milligan. He had a store there and Amco gas pumps. And then there was Jerry Bunker down South Newbury.
Yeah.
He had gas pumps.
Yeah.
Where was that? Where was that house with the gas pumps?
I beg your pardon?
Which was the house with the gas
Well,
pumps?
You mean Jerry Bunker's or the
Yeah.
other one?
Jerry Bunker.
You know that kind of a big place in on the left there,
The,
kind of like an
that
inn or
the
whatever it
Indian
was.
families own. It's the next one.
And yes, it's just like itself. A couple of old junk cars might be there now. Gillingham had for a while.
No, I don't think there's any cars there.
Come on, no.
Before the church, between here and the church, or after?
Oh, no,
No.
after the church.
After the-
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
going towards Bradford.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost.
Well, before you get to that new place with that rolling pin, or whatever they called it, the pizza place there on the right.
And then they have some junk cars in that yard once in a while because they're always working on cars.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That was Jerry Bunker. And then
And now, where was the other one? It
was
was
at the gas.
The
At,
Texaco.
right.
right there.
But then you said 5.
And then it was at the store.
Oh, at the
Oh,
store.
right.
Yeah.
They had
Right.
gas. And then up in Mount Selby, they
Yeah.
had gas. And
Yeah,
then there was
Perkins.
there was two of them up Mount Selby.
Oh, my word.
You know where Leach used to live?
Yeah.
Well, there's a kind of a stone wall right in there.
Yeah.
Well, that was a Tidal station. Can't
Oh,
remember
my.
the guy's name yet. So I had a lot of pumps in those days. Now we got one.
Yeah. Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Newport, Sunapee Street was gasoline alley.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I didn't tell you much history because I forgot it, I guess.
What?
I think you told us a
I guess
lot
I
of
forgot.
history.
Huh?
You told us a good amount of history.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Yes, this has been great.
My favorite story is the one about your wife. I mean,
Yeah, well, that was my
That's a
favorite
great
too.
story.
It worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you ended up with 2 daughters.
$2, yeah. Wish I had another one, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
What about post offices? I heard that there was a post office over by the mountain, and then
Yes.
there was one in South Newbury.
Yeah,
Oh,
where,
yeah.
where the pizza place is now.
Okay,
Palace
yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah.
That one up there in
That
Mount
was a
Sunapee.
store and post office
Yeah.
and gas pumps.
And then in South Newbury, it was in
Mrs. Perkins is.
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was from that was early 60s, I think. Before
Well,
that
wasn't the
was
one there before she took over?
at Mrs.
Must have been. I
Jim's.
wonder if that could have been Mrs. Big in Mrs.
I think it was
Bixby's
in
place.
Mrs. Jim's.
Huh?
Yeah.
Was it in Mrs.
I don't
Jim's?
know.
Maybe?
I think it was.
I think it was.
it was Mrs. Jim's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know
was-
I don't understand the Mrs. Jim's in Bixby, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, she's Mrs. Bixby or Mrs. Jim's. I'm not sure. They always called her Mrs. Jim's.
Well, I think it was Jim Bixby.
Oh, I could
So
be.
she
yeah.
was Mrs. Jim's
Yeah.
because it was, I think.
Yeah, and then the next place next door was Cup and Saucer.
Yeah.
That didn't last too long. Their name. Weather. Well, not long was their name.
Yeah. No, that didn't last long at
Yeah.
all.
Was mail carried by boats and trains back then?
Oh,
Train.
yeah.
You could became by
Train.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was it distributed around the lake as
Yeah,
well?
they had a
Boat, they had
yeah,
mail
they-
boats.
mail
Yeah, they had a
boat.
mailboat.
Yeah.
Lodge's Landing had its own post office.
Yeah.
And they used to hang if there wasn't anything need for the train to stop, they'd hang the
That was down there
mail.
in Melville.
Yeah.
Melville.
Oh yeah,
Melvin.
Melvin Mills.
That was,
yeah.
yeah. There was some lady used to go to Concord. She used to pick up train in Concord. Remember? I can't remember her. Nice lady. Every day she'd be picking the train from
Yeah.
Melville.
Yeah.
And Melville, that was
Melvin Mills.
Melvin Mill.
Yeah, Melvin Mills.
Excuse me.
Same old, same old.
Yeah. The old steam train, old Pearly Eastman. The old, of course, the store doesn't look like a store. The Newbury Plaza doesn't look like it used to be. It used to be a big,
No.
it main
And
building.
of course, there was the big house across the street, right
yeah,
on the
that has
lake.
been torn down. They have a cabin.
Yeah.
And you know, way back, I'm not sure whether the Second World War is probably what stopped it, but they were going to put a tramway. They wanted to put a tramway up over the mountain right down there where this
Yeah.
Alice cabin was. And the trail was cut there. And for years and years, you could come down the hill, come down the road and see it. See that tramway trail, we always call it.
Yeah.
But I get the government, I don't know.
Well,
war must have
probably.
stopped it,
Yeah, you're probably right. That probably they
Yeah.
didn't.
Kind of funny place to put a tramway, but yeah, that's Hallett's cabins.
What about, how did things change when the train went out?
Well, the reason the train went out is they were going to put these big flood control dams down where and that way, which is,
Oh,
would flood the tracks. They had to stop the train.
oh,
So they went the train. Then the train went as far as Bradford. They ran freight from back and forth to Bradford.
yeah.
I think at first, when they took the steam train off in 1953, I think in the spring of '53, when they quit the steam train, then they run this gas like a bud car for a little while, and that petered out too.
Did it change anything around here? Did it feel different after the train?
I don't know if it changed anything, but I suppose just with the chime of the times.
People were mostly using cars by then, weren't they?
Oh yeah, cars kept coming in more
Yeah.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah.
They claim that's what killed the steamboats, right? The train, the cars.
Yeah.
That's what they always claim anyway.
Yeah.
But my father always told me, way back when he first came here, which would be after 1904, he remembers them building one of them boats down at Lakewood Manor. You know, the train tracks are right beside the lake. It kind of makes sense. They had to bring these up. They didn't come on tractor trailer. They come by train in parts because they were so big, right?
Yeah.
They would put them together then. They put one together there. I never heard of it. And there's a big turntable at the Mount Something store. It was a big turntable to turn the train around. The engine.
Yep.
Well, I understand they said there's one the turntable also at the
Davis cabins, yeah.
That's the one, I've seen a picture of that one.
I wonder why they would have two.
It seems awfully close
Seems
to have
full,
two.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But you know what? My mother used to tell about going to Newport in the wintertime. In the wintertime, they put the cars on the blocks and roll the roads.
Oh,
They didn't start plowing the road till 1930. 1930 when they started plowing the road.
okay.
I got a picture at home of showing the first big plow, the big snow. Well, anyway, she tell me they get the horse, get the sleigh, go in Newbury, and they had a barn there beside the track somewhere, and put the horse in there, catch the train to Newport, do what you got to do, come wait for the train, come back on the train, get on the horse, all day long to go to Newport.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You know,
what was in Newport? What were they?
well, Newport had all the house stores and all the stores, all your shopping was done in Newport.
Okay.
And you know, the lake was like a highway in the old days. But my father, like I told you, hauls logs all the time in the Baker Hill. He used to haul to Sunby Harbor. He had the sawmills in Sunby Harbor. But he said, when the ice got hard enough, they'd have somebody, and they'd go and take spruce trees and mark the road across the lake, because when the snow blew, you couldn't know where the heck you're going.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know what island what island it is, one of the major little small islands. There was kind of a natural reef. The ice would open up.
Yeah.
Well, he said one time he was coming home from celebrating with the team pulling the scoot and another team tagging along behind. And they went over the reef. And in the morning it was okay. But coming back at night, for some reason the reef was open up more. And the front team had got over the reef, but the second team went down in the ice, down the lake. And he, being young and strong, I suppose, he jumped off and saved one horse and lost one.
Oh my.
Well, my uncle was pretty mad that he lost a horse, and lo and behold, he lost a whole team in the same place not too long after that.
Wow.
You know, the lake would open up sometimes
Yeah.
in the wintertime. Even though it's cold, it'll break in.
It still does.
Yeah.
Well, it
And you know,
hardly
the
freezes.
Woodson brothers, the people that owned the steamship, and they went steamships or steamboats,
Yeah.
would grapple and get those horses out because they couldn't leave them in the water.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, but amazing, huh?
But now
Wow.
they were horses, not oxen
Horses.
that they were using.
Yeah, horses, yeah.
Horses.
Because they hauled the logs across the lake. Because they're the shortest way. It's 3 miles across the lake, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I go from the other way, it's about 9 miles.
Yeah.
You've got to go way around.
Yeah.
So they took the shortest route.
On your farm, did you have oxen or just
No,
horses?
we had one. I don't know why he didn't have a team. I couldn't tell you why he didn't have a team, but he didn't. He was a team. He knew how to run a team, but he didn't have it. He had one horse, and we had Jim Messer. He'd come over and do the work,
Oh yeah.
the heavy work with the team, until we get the tractor. They swap work, back and forth.
Yeah.
Jim's a good old guy.
Yeah.
He's the last one around here. There's no farms left around here.
Well, Schroeder's.
Huh? Yeah.
Schroeder.
Schroeder, yeah.
Yeah.
About the only one. They didn't have
Yeah.
much of anything left.
Yeah.
Schultes, I don't remember. Up where you live, they called it a farm, but I remember where their fields were. Schultes.
Yeah. But
So
He was a
that's,
rich guy, I
your
think.
grand-
He was my
grandfather.
great grandfather. The original Schultes was. I'm a Schultes.
Oh, really? Are you really?
Yeah.
No, didn't they come from? Didn't he must have had a few bucks otherwise? Because they had big fancy places.
Yeah, so he was from a family from the Catskills in New York, but he made a fortune as a grain broker. He was an international grain broker.
Oh,
And he came up here and started buying distressed farms, and so they had a poultry operation.
yes.
I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
the
way
postcards.
back, way
of
back,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
His son was not the businessman his father was, and between his poor business skills and the Great Depression, they lost most
Of course.
everything.
Yeah, I remember the name Schultes, yeah.
Yeah.
They owned that, what the town garages, I think. They owned all that land with the town garages.
The sand pit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All of that. My
Oh, yeah.
grandfather still had that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and
you
and
lived down there.
wouldn't send it. He wouldn't sell it to the town. The town wanted to buy it from him, and he was an ornery guy.
Yeah.
He refused, but then he sold it to the the people.
Oh, yes.
I
Yeah.
forgot their name. Partridge or what is their
Well, it was
Walter-
Graf.
Partridge?
Graf.
Graf.
Oh,
Walt
Graf,
Graf.
Walter Graf, yeah, he
Right.
bought the land.
And then eventually he sold to the town, I think, or someone.
Yeah. Willow something.
Willow.
Sand and
yeah.
gravel, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Barbara Gates, well, when did she come in there? After, was she
So-
go right from Schultes to Barbara Gates?
So in 1945.
Oh, Maxfield.
They lost it to tax sale, and Jack Maxfield bought
Jack
it.
Maxfield bought it, yeah, he was a
And
big
then
tall
in
man.
'54, Barbara Yates bought it from Maxfield.
Yeah, he was a big tall man, he was an osteopath.
He was a doctor. I know. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember him.
He was
but
osteopath,
yeah.
Yeah.
He had a
Yeah.
pretty wife, blonde wife.
Yeah.
Blonde.
And very active in the
Yeah,
ski
they always were
program.
active in town.
Well, in the ski
Like the
program
Booths.
too. Yeah.
The booth, as the booth was. Yeah, had a few people were active in those days. Ernestine Merrill, and Laura Cook. And then one of them, Mount Emily Perkins, I forget, Elsie Perkins. They were all the kind of the big shots in those days. I don't know who is the big shots now. I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. I don't know much about. I stay up there. I don't know much what goes on.
Mind your own business, huh?
Well, I try to, but and we try to. I don't know.
Any more questions?
I can't think of anything else. This has been really great.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been
Great.
wonderful.
Well, your house was part of the Schultes farm, right?
Yeah. And Margot Steves, I was listening to the oral history you did with her. She said it was a tin shop or something. There was someone. I don't remember.
No. Who owns that farm now? They raise fish. Did they raise fish there?
Mark Mark and Meredith Moran bought that, and they did. They when he first came, they were raising fish. And
Tilapia,
then,
right?
And then tilapia, and then the barn burned down. And so he said that I was a fool to try and do. They had a guy caretaking for the house over the weekend while they were away, and he emptied the wood stove ash bucket and left it sitting there, and it caught on fire, and the whole barn burned down.
Oh,
We were there the day that burned down. It was so scary.
awful.
It was really awful. And so he said I was a fool to do that. So he's still raising. He has cattle. He has turkeys. He has, but they started bigger and they're getting smaller and smaller. So I think he's mostly just raising for his own family
It's
now.
very difficult for anybody to do anything.
Yeah, he was trying to make a living that way, and I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we owned our place for 89 years. We took care of it. We sold it to the golf course in,
Yeah.
well, in 99, I guess, or 2000, when it was.
yeah.
Well, it's
Has
pretty
it
hard to
been
get-
that
There were still
long?
6 people in those days. I was alive. Pretty hard to get 6 people to agree on anything. So we're happy that the golf course took it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a good place to live.
Do you have a garden?
A dog?
Garden.
Oh no, I gave it up last year. So down wet.
Oh.
And one person I don't need anything. Ball of this.
Well, Joe had a terrible
yeah,
time
good.
trying to cut down.
I know. We had a nice, beautiful guy. We got the best spot in the world. You know, we get the sun the first sun in the morning, the last sun at night up on that hill and get all that sun there is.
Yeah.
That's what I used to love about living upstairs. You just, it was beautiful. But, you know, that's another funny thing. But where I live now, I went up in 1968, and here again, it was September 68. They were digging potatoes. My father and my brother were digging potatoes, and I worked for Whitcomb Concrete outfit out of Newport. And we still living at the farm, and so I went over and helped them pick up potatoes. And after a while, here come my wife, Josephine, and her sister-in-law, Bro Joe's wife. Oh, Mrs. Peterson owned those houses up right there, those two houses. Mrs. Peterson owned both of them. She sold one, and she kept the other one, and fixed it up, but she didn't fix it up very. It was crooked, but it was beside the one. I worked on it myself all these years. Anyway, I'm going to tell you quick. So they come up one Sunday afternoon. Oh, Richard, you got to go up and see what Musa, her name was Musa. What Musa done to that place? I says, okay. And we went up there, and it was for sale. She wanted to slide. She was desperate. She wanted back to New York. She wanted to get out of here. Well, get to talking. I don't know. I know she was unhappy that she and my mother, well, they were getting along okay, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
After a while, they don't like getting jive. So she wanted to get out of there. Wife wanted to get out of there. Well, how much you want from her? Well, we talked back and forth, and I jewed her down a little bit, and she said, okay, because she was going to New York, let me have it. She said, okay. Well, you know, so at that one time, I mean, I've seen the house before, but the first time I was in it, and bought it the same day. It's like you get married. How stupid am I? Huh? But you know what worked? I'm still there. 63 years later, I'm still there.
Isn't that something? That's terrific.
But it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Don't know any better.
It worked out.
It worked out.
I think you've done all right.
God. She was upset because the people that bought the house across the street, she wanted to keep it herself. She wanted to sell this one, but they didn't want this one. This wasn't so nice as the one over there. And he went and built a big garage on it. That really upset her. So she couldn't look out there. That really upset her. That's why she wanted to get rid of it. She wanted to go back to New York. She was from Norway.
Well, that worked out for you, though.
Yeah, oh, well. Stuff was cheap in those days. Sounded like a lot of money, but it's nothing today.
Nothing today. No, that's for sure.
Yep.
Well, I think this has been wonderful.
It has been.
Very wonderful. Thank you.
I didn't give you too much history, but I don't know.
Oh no, you gave us a lot. This is great.
Yeah. Been very interesting.
So you've been here a long time too, Judy, so you know a lot going on.
Oh, but not anywhere near as long as you have. I
Well,
didn't, yeah.
Like it's all different those days, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you so
quite
much
welcome.
for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was glad to do it.
And for the
Whoop.
tape, the other people here are Sally Harris and Leah McBain.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. I
It's
didn't
okay.
introduce
Thank
you.
you.
Get Howard. Howard should know a lot.
Yeah, he said once he found out you were going to do
Oh,
an
well, where is
interview,
he?
he said he would too.
He would. I said, I'll get in touch with you, Howard.